What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be checking out the crypto space today, looking at what's going on with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. It'll be a quick run through, talking about the charts and what we're seeing. So, of course, we're going to start with Bitcoin first. As you can see, long-term trend line. We have this trend line that's been established over here from 2021 highs, connecting these highs over here. Probably switch it down a little bit. We got rejection off of it. Now it looks like we're creating some kind of wick potentially to hopefully wick fill this, and we get the green body of the candle to fill this wick over here and eventually push higher. We still have 28 days, so seeing an early drawdown could be a good sign that we're getting the wick first before the body of the candle. Of course, everything's subject to change. If we can see a monthly close above this upward sloping trend line, that's going to be a good sign, and that's going to potentially increase the odds of us pushing down here, retesting, and getting that bounce for the continuation of this move here on Bitcoin. On the weekly, you can see that we broke underneath this wick and this wick. We're already wicking back up. We'll see where the candle ends up closing for this week. Currently sitting at 114 at the moment. We still have 12 hours and 50 minutes. If we close underneath here, there could be a continuation, or at least a retest of this previous wick, maybe this level over here, before continuing up. When you take a look at the fib here, you can see that this pullback is to the 236 off of this level. So this is just a bullish continuation of an uptrend. So really, when you take a look at the fib and on a large time frame back to this April low, you can see this is just a standard pullback. This normally happens in moves to the upside. As you can see, back to this move here, we made it back to the 382 and then continued higher. If we only pull back to the 236, that's even more bullish than this move over here. If we made it back to the 382, that would take us back to 104. Hopefully we don't. We just find that support here at the 236 around 112K, and that kind of coincides with this key level support that we have drawn out here. That 236 is slightly above this key level here that we have drawn out. So we'll see if we get a bounce here. It looks like it's trying to make some kind of move up. We'll see if it actually turns out to be some kind of V-shaped recovery, or if this starts to create a bear flag for a further move down, taking it from this point. So if that bearish trend continues and we kind of just chop sideways, maybe up a little bit, maybe this is something that we could be looking at for a measured move. Hopefully not. Hopefully it just turns back around. Or if we fall further, hopefully this is enough support to catch price. Because if we lose this level, then we're looking at this level at around 106 to 105 or so. But on the more bullish side, if we have a V-shaped recovery and we close back above 116, then it's going to open up the likelihood of us bouncing off of this level, and now we're back in the same range that we were previously in, and it's like nothing ever happened. On the daily SMA, it looks like we found a bounce off of our 50-day SMA, which is a key level of support. After falling underneath our 20, we were saying there's a possibility, or it's going to increase the likelihood of us retesting off the 20 and pushing down further, potentially to the 50. Of course, we didn't know that we'd get an exaggerated move that quick, but it did happen, and we did invalidate our bull flag or bull pennant. So we had something like that being drawn out, and I think we had it something like this. Yeah, it was about something like that. It was invalidated, as you can see, broke underneath, and we lost that bull pennant and the bull flag as well. But it still can be a bullish continuation of price, and it can still trend higher. So it doesn't mean anything overall. It's just a normal downturn in these Bitcoin cycles. When we take a fib off of this level here, actually, you can see this from the June 22nd low to this high over here. You can see that we almost touched the 0.5 to the 618, the golden zone, and we got that bounce. Currently, we'll see if it actually holds and continues higher. But right now, it's looking pretty decent. We made it down to 111 or so. and we're already sitting at 114,200 as we speak. On the weekly EMA, you can see we actually came to touch it, and it looks like that could be a level of support that could push price higher. We'll see if it holds or if we end up falling through. If we fall through, then it's going to open up the idea of pushing lower. But right now it's looking pretty good. Hopefully we get that weekly close in the next 12 hours at 116 or higher. On the daily, we're still underneath our 8 EMA, so maybe this would support the other idea of us pushing up, bouncing off that EMA, and then creating fresh lows, and then that would support the narrative for the bear flag. There's always two sides to everything. You have to be open to different ideas. On the weekly RSI, looks like we are breaking underneath our yellow moving average, but we are still holding our trend that's pushing higher. Maybe it's a retest, but it looks like we're slightly breaking it, but I wouldn't say it's a confirmed break yet. I would say it's still more of a retest in a retest phase than anything. So we'll see if the trend continues and if we can crack this high at 69.38 and push into overbought territory on Bitcoin. On the daily RSI, we still have a bearish trend and we're still trying to break back into the neutral zone and higher and get back into bullish territory. When we look at ETH, you can see that we have this downward sloping trend line that we found resistance off of multiple times, and it looks like we found it again. We'll see if we get a big drawdown like we've seen over here, or if this is just the start of some kind of bull flag for higher prices and hopefully breaking out, retesting, and pushing higher. The SMA is looking pretty decent where we have the 20 pushing above the 200 as we speak. Last time we saw the 20 push above the 200 was over here at this level, and that was at around 1400 or 1500, somewhere in that ballpark, and we ended up pushing up to roughly 4000. So we'll see if that ends up meaning anything at all, and if that can support price along the way to higher prices. On the daily, we have fallen underneath our 20, and it looks like we could potentially retest it and have a move lower. If we can hold the 20, then we can start playing back above and start talking about that more bullish scenario where we're breaking out, retesting, and continuing higher. When you look for the fib levels, this is also bouncing off the 236. So this is a very bullish move anyways. Continuation of price. This is honestly a healthy reset, because when you have a violent move to the upside, you can get a violent move back down. So if this is all we retest at and we kind of trend sideways at, this is a good rest period for a continuation higher. And also when you take a look at the weekly RSI, you can see that we were in overbought territory, and now we're starting to get a little downturn. So maybe we pull back to our yellow moving average before finding some kind of support for strength on Ethereum, and then we continue that move higher. On the daily, you can see now that we had some divergence, as you can see this downward sloping trend line, and you can see that price was still continuing higher. So with that divergence, this is telling you price is continuing up, but price doesn't really have strength because it's actually falling. It's losing strength underneath a yellow moving average, but price is still continuing up. So this is an early sign that there could be some kind of drop, and that's exactly what we got. But now we got a nice reset because we fell all the way down to the 50 mark, which is a neutral zone. If we get a move back higher to overbought territory again, this could potentially be creating a bull flag and breaking out. When we look at Solana here, you can see we are in an established uptrend, and we could potentially be getting a bounce off of our support level, but we still have a key level of resistance at around 180 to around 174. We'll see if we can break that and continue higher. Right now the trend is a little bearish. When you zoom out a little bit, you can see that from this fib level here, we're just bouncing off the golden zone, which is a key level of support. It's a magnet for price. That's why you always see it happening multiple times on different time frames, on different stocks and ETFs and crypto. So you can see we're bouncing off that key level of support, and we need to break this key level, get a close, retest, and continue our move higher. But right now we're at a key level of support, so hopefully we don't lose it. If we do lose it, it's going to open up the idea of breaking down, retesting, and looking for horizontal levels of support. If we can continue the trend higher, then I would imagine that Solana would be looking at the top of this range and eventually trying to break out of this upward sloping trend line retest, and continue the move higher. In terms of the SMA, we still have 12 hours, but we'll see if we can actually break back above our 50 and continue the move higher, or if we're going to actually hold this breakdown, and then that's going to open up the idea of us bouncing off the 50 and pushing down to our 20 for another retest. On the daily, it looks a little bit more bearish. We've fallen underneath our 20, our 200, and our 50, and the 250 are together right now, so this is going to be a key level of resistance. Right now we are back above it, but as you can see, we've closed underneath both of them, so this could potentially just be a retest for a move down further, which would then support the idea of us closing underneath this long-term trend, retesting it, and then continuing that move even further. So it looks like crypto in general has just been trending higher in a nice little bull trend. We're getting some kind of cool off period. We'll see if the trend can continue. But right now it looks like everything's just trending sideways, more than likely for some kind of move higher. You always need resets in these bull runs, so this is actually healthy for price. That's all I have for you guys. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.